So I went back to the Met finally after a really long break, and I'm really happy I went back finally. So my main area of interest when I go to the Met is drawing sculptures. I never do copies of paintings because I do not see the point. I mean, the sculptures are the next best thing to life models because they don't move, and I can be in front of the sculpture, like right in front of it. I don't have to be considerate, don't get too close to the model. So I can be as close as I want, except not too close. The guards will make sure that you're not touching the thing. So no touching at the Met. But you're allowed to come relatively close, and also there's no competition about the spacing. I can set up wherever I want, and people who visit the museum just have to deal with the fact that I'm there to paint. The visitors are very respectful of the artists, so like I've never encountered a problem where somebody was like, hey, can you move over because I want to take a picture or something. It's actually very funny because they think that the process of drawing is as quick as snapping a picture, so they go underneath my point of view to make sure that I don't accidentally capture them in my drawing. A lot of people do that. It's very funny. So anyway, but yeah, I digress. I usually choose sculptures that include a lot of folds. I actually started judging my drawings based on how the folds feel. If the folds feel very natural, if the folds feel like a real fabric, then I consider it a successful drawing. I totally digressed again. One of the sculptures that I really like is a sculpture by Dega, the sculpture of the young dancer, and that sculpture is like the best thing for somebody like me because the sculpture includes natural elements. Certain parts of the clothing on the sculpture are made out of real fabric. For example, the tutu that she's wearing, Dega created it mid-1800s, I think. So when I first saw the sculpture, I was like, wow, 150 years old and this tutu is still in such a good condition. But then I started reading about it, and it turns out that the version of the sculpture at the Met had its tutu restored in 2018. It does appear to be stained. I think they stained it, intentionally, like through some kind of a process to make it look like it's old. The sculpture at the Met is not the real thing. It's a copy of the original, and there are about 28 cast copies made out of bronze, I believe. The original still exists, and it's at the National Gallery of Arts in Washington, D.C. And that original sculpture is made out of wax. So imagine that, totally different texture. The bronze sculpture at the Met is very shiny. I like the fact that it's very shiny because, that adds complexity to. So yeah. So what was I talking about again? Yeah, okay. The edges of the tutu touch the edges of the paper, and I do not have enough space to put context around it. I would be happier if I had two inches more on each side so I can add the context around it, but unfortunately I don't think I'll be adding paper to the sides. I will be adding paper to the bottom because I definitely need more room to put in the legs. She's a dancer, so the legs are a must. Here's my collection of tapes. There is one tape that I usually use. Oh, it's this one right here. Oh no, it's not this one. Oh, I wonder if I still have the oldest tape, and I don't have the one that I need. I usually use a tape that is similar to this one, but it's thinner. I need to decide how much paper I want to add. I think I want to add about this much. So I'm just going to draw a line like this, and this is pretty much perfect. Now all I have to do is just tape it in the back. Since this is the back of the drawing, I don't really care about whether it's pretty or not. I just want to get the two pieces together. Oh, I really like this tape because it's very soft. It's almost like a very thin, delicate piece of fabric. So this should hold it. When I started sketching in the legs, I realized that the reference points that I was counting on to help me with that failed me. I miscalculated some of the folds on the skirt, and as a result, if I use those folds as reference to put in the legs, my legs will not be in the right position. So I have to ignore the tutu and just try to estimate where the legs should be based on her weight, and her weight is on her left leg. So as you can see, I started sketching in two options for the leg. I know which option I'm going to go with. The option I'm thinking about feels better than the other. One of the biggest challenges that I encountered here with this drawing is the fact that it seems like Dega oversized the head, and as a result made her neck very thick. Her neck seems to be as thick as her waist, which is very unnatural in my opinion. I don't think I've ever seen a kid with a neck so thick that it's almost the size of her waist. If you compare my drawing to the actual sculpture, you'll see that the head and the neck are smaller, but not too small for the size of the shoulders, which are also confusing because it seems like Dega made them very masculine. One of the Met visitors said to me that I'm drawing masculine shoulders on a girl's body. Sir, look at the sculpture. This is according to Dega. It's not according to me. He presented the shoulders this way. I'm drawing what I see except the neck and the head, okay? So mind your own business. No, I didn't say that. Actually, that was the first time somebody ever criticized my drawing, and I did not like that. I mean, show me your drawing, okay? So he quickly realized that I wasn't interested in his feedback, and he moved on, which I was very happy about. Going back to the shoulders, they are very masculine. I think in my drawing, they are also masculine, although because I edited the neck and the head, maybe the shoulders are a little bit more feminine because I had to, you know, match it to the head and the neck. But nevertheless, the whole head, neck, shoulders area was very challenging for me. I'm at a point where I think I can focus on the lighting, the highlights, the texture of the skin, and things like that. The top part of her outfit is also made out of bronze. It's not made out of fabric. The fact that where there should be shadow, they painted it in a dark color, it confuses my perception a little bit because I'm thinking it should be a shadow, but the light doesn't agree with that. There is no shadow. So then we have the tutu, which I think I briefly described, but long story short, I'm really excited about drawing that because I can't wait to draw the texture, like start working on the texture. And I'm really curious how close I can get to the real thing. My goal with the fabric is always to make one see how the fabric feels without touching it, okay? So this is an effect that I see on paintings by old masters. Achieving that type of effect is a sign of great skill, which I do not have yet, but it's on my list of goals, painting goals. So I think achieving that is much easier with paint because one can do magic with paint. It's much more difficult with color pencils for sure. So color pencils might be a limitation here, but I'll try to do my best.